Who's going to win the NCAA tournament? Who should be the number one pick in the NFL draft? And are the Cavs and the Thunder destined to play in the finals? Or will somebody give them a challenge? That and more next on Good Sports. Thanks for joining us. I'm Randy Goode, and I am joined alongside Trent Sneed. And behind the scenes, we've got Cameron Harkleroad, and Andrew Goode is back here too. And so we've got a full house, and we are excited to talk about things. We got a lot going on with the NCAA basketball tournament going on. Lots of fun stuff there. But before anything, if you like what you see and hear, please hit that subscribe button. Every week we get more people, and every week we are appreciative. We thank you very much. But hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, like, and then you will get everything as soon as it comes out. We do bring things out through the week as well. So thank you for that. But we would love to have more and more people on board. So, but we're going to start off with the NCAA tournament. And interesting games going on. There's been some close games. There's been some blowouts.
Man, my bracket is killing it.
Are you doing good?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You're doing
Tech up.
I think,
Tech up.
Right now, we'll see how things go. But right now, who do you think, standing right now where we're at, is gonna win it all? Trent, where are you at? What do you think is looking the most likely?
I don't know. Tennessee's looking good.
You're still happy, Tennessee.
Tennessee's looking good.
Yeah.
They got to play Kentucky, but you know
that's
Tennessee's
winnable.
looking good.
Tennessee, that's a winnable game.
If you think about it, geographically, Tennessee's not on top.
Oh, okay. All right. So where's the spin?
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's geographically. We ain't talking geographically. We're talking about basketball.
We're talking about basketball. So do you still have Tennessee winning it all? Is that your heart or your mind?
I don't know. Duke just looks so good.
Duke looks good.
Cooper Flag.
It's Cooper Flag.
Cooper's a stud.
Do we say it? I don't want to say it.
He's been the
I don't
number
wanna
one
say
guy
it.
the whole year.
I don't want to say it. Listen,
He's been the number one guy for like 2 or 3 years.
he's like, he's doing a lot for the people right now. You know, he's really pushing a narrative. I don't want to say what narrative. Don't want to get kicked off YouTube.
That's White Boy of the Year right there.
He leads
The
their
award
team.
ceremony's going crazy right now.
He leads them in everything.
No, yeah, he's
Got
an
a lot
animal.
of grit.
A lot of grit and spit. A lot of effort. First in the gym, last out.
Big effort guy.
Alabama looked pretty good too. I will say that. Bama looked pretty good. They look solid, and they're going to go up against BYU, and then most likely play Duke in the semis. So
The Mormons are ruining my bracket.
yeah, the Mormons really
They-
have ruined my bracket.
They absolutely imploded it.
They're doing well. They're doing well, and we said on here that they could do well. They could advance, and so they're doing it.
Yeah, Texas Tech played well,
Tech up.
and they get a really nice turnout where they don't have to play St. John's.
St. John's.
That worked out well for Texas Tech.
That was like the Godfather. Everybody was kind of rooting for him, and he just flamed out.
Yeah,
That was really too bad.
This is the thing.
Benched his player.
He benched his player because his player was like 3-27 going into the fourth.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of controversy about it.
Yeah, but
he
here's the deal. I don't know. It's so hard to be like, the kid was literally like an MVP of his conference.
Yeah.
And he benches him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. That's like saying if Michael Jordan was 3 for 27, you gonna
No.
bench Michael Jordan?
No.
No, you're not.
It's insane.
But this is college.
I know, but he's still the best player on the team. I don't care.
I would still want my best player to shoot it, even if he had shot 10 shots and made one. I want him to shoot the 11th shot. Not my best player, because usually your best player is that guy or gal that believes in themselves.
I don't know. The only thing that Rick could come to me and say is if he looks at you and says, "Look, I looked at the kid's eyes at half and I could tell he was gone." Then I'm like, okay, well, there's some.
That's true.
That's
true. And Rick Pitino is a coach that's been around.
Yeah.
So he knows. I mean, he's a great coach.
I mean, at that point, that's really bad. That field goal percentage is god awful.
Yeah.
And if you're there as a player, especially a young player, not a grown player in the NBA, but a young player, I could see how you could just be gone to the world, right? And if he saw that and he said, he's gone, I could see where you think that's legitimate to bench him. But it's just hard. It's hard from an outsider's perspective to see.
We don't know what they said in the locker room.
That's true.
So who do you have winning right now? If you had to re-put your money on it, who would you say? Not your heart. Your money's on the line. Who would you have?
My 4 finalists are all still in it.
So are everybody's because
No.
it's Cinder. Oh, well,
No. Are all
Stupid
4 of your
Mormons.
finalists?
huh?
Are
Yeah,
You
Yes.
have who do you have?
I have Houston.
You have Michigan State. That's
Michigan
not
State.
happening. Oh, Michigan State is not happening.
Duke, and
Ole Miss is looking good, and if they get past
Florida.
Ole Miss,
Florida.
they're not getting past Michigan or Auburn.
I have Florida in the championship versus Duke.
Incorrect.
It might be, but so far I have hope. I have hope. So I have Florida winning it, which
I
is
don't
not
know.
not as many people have that.
I
but
wish I still had my final.
who do you have winning it as of now, Cameron?
My heart says Tech.
Tech. Okay.
My-
That's right.
my-
That's right. That's right.
But I mean,
They kind of
they have to beat Duke, and that's
That's
just
the thing, though.
sucks.
Yeah, but this is the thing is they're gonna get it easy out with the Arkansas. They're not gonna
They're
lose
gonna
that.
make it to the finals, but I'm just saying they're gonna have to beat Duke, and I don't know if they can.
Well, they're gonna get it easy out, so they're gonna get a little
Shut
bit of rest, and then they're gonna have to go play Florida, which
Florida-
will be tough.
they won't win.
But hear me
they'll
out.
win.
Hear me out. If they get an easy game and then get to go play Florida, Florida's got to play a pretty hard game against Maryland.
Yeah.
That's not a walk me,
No,
right?
no, Maryland's
So there's a chance that they take advantage of that, beating up on Florida, and then you go and you play the next team. Listen, whoever makes it out of the South Conference, I don't think they're going to be able to beat whoever makes it out of the West Conference. So either Florida or Texas Tech, if they make it out, I think is going to beat up on whoever makes it out of the South Conference, which is Michigan, Auburn, that group of players, Ole Miss, Michigan State. So anyways, I think there's a road there. I think there's a path there for
it's
sure.
possible.
So you're sounding more like you think Duke will beat
I think
Tech.
Duke will win.
Duke?
Unfortunately,
So we got a Duke? They got the number one odds of winning. Duke. I have Florida.
Yeah, but this is March Madness.
I'm not saying it.
You're not saying
I'm not
it?
gonna say it.
Oh, that way you can say afterwards, that was my team.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Tennessee.
Go Bulls.
We're
Go
going-
Bulls!
Tennessee.
Go Bulls!
All right. So then the next thing in this tournament, this has been a weird year. There's not the same. Usually there's more upsets, and there's really no Cinderella teams. Arkansas is a 10 seed, so they did win. But for the most part, most of the teams expected to win are winning. Is that good for college basketball tournament or bad?
Yeah, but is that the media really pushing us towards that, or is that the truth? Because I picked Creighton to beat Louisville, which was a 9 over an 8. Okay,
That's not really an
That's not a
upset.
huge upset, but that's still an upset.
There's multiple upsets that have happened, but
Yeah.
I just think the concept of like the Cinderella story is cool for like 2 rounds.
I
But it's-
picked
it's-
Colorado State over
it's
Memphis.
never
That's a
real.
12 over a 5.
It's never real.
That's the thing. Is like I picked Drake over Missouri. Like that's an
I did too.
upset.
I got both those games
I
too.
didn't.
I got both those games.
Technically,
Thank you.
Arkansas over Kansas. I didn't pick
Yeah.
that one, but that was an upset. Listen, I think personally, the media is pushing this whole upset thing. And at the end of the day, the Cinderella team making it to the finals isn't good. It's not. It's not good for college basketball.
No.
Because guess what? They're a Cinderella team because they don't have any fans.
That's just it. The bigger bases, Duke has a following nationwide.
At the end of the day, no one wants to see Grand Canyon in the finals.
No.
That's just the truth.
High Point is a good story if they win the first round, which they didn't, but if they win, that's a great story. But there's not a huge High Point following.
Like seeing McNeese win their
Yeah.
first game against Clemson,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
That was
Thing
fun.
is, it's like,
we enjoyed
no
it.
one cares about McNeese, the basketball team.
I know.
They
Except
only
for
cared
McNeese.
about
Yeah.
Amir.
Yeah. But
No,
but
even McNeese
no one was
didn't care
rooting for
about their
McNeese to beat Purdue.
No.
They were rooting for them to beat Clemson in the first round, but no
Right.
one was rooting for them to beat Purdue.
Right.
And the reason is because the Cinderella story is fun for the first round,
Yeah.
but it's not fun after that. No one
Right.
actually cares.
No.
Because people put way too much money on these games. And
Yeah.
people are like, I don't want to see a 12 seed make it all the way to the end.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Like Drake had that one kid that never got an offer, and he's like a stud. He was like an MVP for their conference. Anyways, he was a stud. He never even got an offer out of high school to go to Kansas. I think he was trying to go to he grew up in Kansas and really wanted to go to be a Jayhawk or something like that.
yeah.
And anyways, that was a cool story to see Drake upset Missouri because they're like, oh yeah, this poor kid never got an offer from Kansas, and
Right.
now he's playing for Drake, playing his heart out at an MVP level, and they beat Missouri. It's an upset, and then they go and get smacked by Texas Tech because no one cared about the kid after he won the first round.
No.
Yeah.
It was fun for the one game.
That's all it is.
We love the story,
it's-
and then we move on.
The upsets are good for the media and terrible for the league.
Yeah.
Because if the upsets happen too often,
No.
the league's power rankings and their ranking system goes out the window because it's fake.
Yeah.
And the way that they combat that is by saying, well, it's March Madness. Anything can happen. That's the
Right.
slogan,
Right.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. They cover themselves by saying that because
Anything can happen.
their power rankings are
Yeah.
purely based on popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
okay. Well, we'll see what goes on here. And how many number one seeds make it to the Final Four and that not. Usually you have just a couple teams that make it. Right now there has been less upsets this year than there has been in the past. But I agree. I think overall the first round it's fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting, or a close game is really exciting. And you see some upset, but you don't want Duke to be out in the first round this year.
Yeah.
I kind of do.
Well, with that, I mean, if you're the NBA and fandom with the
First
star
round.
players, it's nice to have the star players making it further and further.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, don't be surprised. And think about the conferences too. Like, you're gonna have the major conferences all represented.
Yeah.
Yeah. So-
Duke's kind of the outlier, to be honest with you. Duke's gonna probably be the outlier of the whole thing. So
Well, the thing is like if you went down the street and asked anyone anything about college basketball, the only person that they're probably going to be able to talk about is Cooper Flag.
that's true. That's
And
actually so true.
in order to keep like
Yeah.
the general public
Yeah.
intrigued, they kind of have to keep Cooper in the game.
Yeah.
So if Duke was to lose the first round, I guarantee you the ratings of March Madness would have gone down.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Let's move on to in girls in women's NCAA bracket. Juju Watkins,
No.
possibly the best player out
Jaden
there,
Daniels' girlfriend. No.
Yeah. tears
I
her.
only know her from
You gotta
that.
feel
That's all I
sympathy.
knew. Listen, Randy brought it up. He said Juju Watkins. I was like, yeah, that's Jaden's girl. And then
That's
he's
Ja-
like, tore ACL. I'm
Tell
like,
her
who cares?
ACL. You gotta.
Didn't know.
You feel with the tear in the ACL, but the best
Yeah.
player, Sweet 16,
Crazy.
USC's the number one seed, has a great chance to win the championship since the first time since 1984, and she tears her ACL.
I don't
That
want to
is
say
terrible.
it, Randy, but she might have been involved in extracurricular
That's
activities,
terrible.
which is the reason
That's
for her torn
terrible.
She
ACL.
absolutely wasn't because Jaden Daniels' mom would not have allowed that.
Good for Mama.
No,
Good for Mama.
His mom is the worst.
Oh,
His
I
mom
think-
is the worst person on the planet.
Oh, really?
She's awful. Yeah,
Why
she
is she
has
awful?
like well, it's like one of those things where she's like a boy mom. So like she has these set rules for her 23-year-old son who's a grown man. She's like still like on top of him all the time, and like he's only allowed to date these people if they meet these certain parameters that she's set. And
Sounds like Michael Jordan's mom.
She's crazy.
Well,
She's insane.
well,
She sounds a little crazy.
without
She is. If you watch the video of them at the game, there's Juju and Jaden were sitting in the stands together, and then they panned away, and then they panned back, and his mom went and sat right in between them. It's
That's
just
wild.
crazy.
That's
And
wild.
you could just see the face, like Juju's face.
Oh
She's
my
so
gosh.
uncomfortable because like the mom clearly was like, "Oh, this is my spot,"
oh no.
and like pushed her out.
That's crazy. I looked up Jaden Daniels' mom, and the first thing that pops up is, why are people blaming Jaden Daniels' mom for Juju Watkins' injury?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. She's crazy.
Well,
Jaden Daniels' mom appears to separate him from Juju Watkins. Social media erupts.
you
Yeah.
guys are terrible.
No, she's insane.
Yeah. So, but when you have one of the main, if not the best player in college basketball, and she tears her ACL in the game they think it was the end of the first half. They are in the Sweet 16. I think USC's in trouble. You know, USC, the last time they won a championship was 1984, and their best player, Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Miller, Reggie Miller's sister.
Oh.
The best story one of the best stories I ever heard was Reggie Miller came home and he was all excited. And he's like, I
Oh,
had
yeah, I've heard the
39
story.
points. I had 39 points. And Cheryl's his older sister. And she's like, great. Yeah, how'd you do? more. I had more. Do you have 50? Because she had in a game 50, 60, 70 points in a game before. You had more than 50? You had more than 60? You had more than 7. She had 105 points.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes home on cloud 9 making 39, and sister gets 105. 105. That's incredible.
It'll really ruin your day, to be honest with you.
You talk about popping a balloon.
Yeah,
but,
you gotta look at it's like comparing apples to oranges there.
Yeah, but that's 105 points is impressive, no matter what. But
You're the only one taking shots, yeah.
Yeah, well, listen. I've had people.
It's not hard to get a lot of points.
I've had teammates that I wanted to score more than 105 in a season. So and kids that have played for me. So anyway, but it's too bad for Juju. That is a horrible thing. I don't know how that's going to affect her career too. You've dealt with an ACL injury. You don't know how you're going to come back. I mean, if you think about somebody that's played all their life, this is the biggest moment of their life. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to be in the WNBA. You're going to want all these things, and you tear your ACL in this moment. It's just utterly insane. Moving on to the NBA. Right now, there's 2 teams, record-wise, that have been heads and tails over everybody. The Cavs in the East have a 5-game lead over Boston, who also is doing well, but the Cavs have been spectacular this year. And then the Thunder in the West have almost a 14-game lead in the loss column in the West. They are playing phenomenal basketball.
Well,
my question
is.
Yes.
Shea
Well, the whole team, they have 12 losses, and then the next team's like 26 losses or whatever.
Yes,
I mean, that's
the Nuggets have like 26 losses.
That's insane. I mean, you don't see that that big of a spread. Question are any of the teams in the NBA right now that are out there, can they knock those 2 off? And if so, what team do you see is the most likely in the West or the East to knock those 2 teams out?
Okay, I want to start with the fact that I've been thinking about this for a while now.
Is this some Shay?
This is some Shay.
Okay.
Lakers in 5. Honestly, those videos are so fantastic.
So good.
No, this is talking about SGA. I'm over it. I'm so over it. They're not going to win a finals. I'm out.
Okay.
I am out.
Woo!
Listen, have you watched a Thunder game recently? You quite literally can't touch the guy, and they call a foul. And he reminds me of how JP used to play basketball, and it used to piss me off. Like, he literally, as soon as a finger touches him, he just falls. He just falls. And I'm like, oh.
2 shots.
But this is my thing. There's no way they're giving that to him in the playoffs. They're going to call it now, and they're going to keep calling it because it's the regular season.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They call it in the NBA during the regular season. But they have set a precedent in the NBA. They have set a precedent in the last couple years. They've been letting them play harder in the playoffs. That is factual, right?
Yeah.
Everyone agrees with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he's going to get the same calls in the playoffs.
So you don't think?
Do you
he'll
think
get
he
to the
knows
line?
that?
I don't know. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a fantastic player.
He'll be MVP.
But I'm worried
He won't.
I'm
And
worried
it's
that
stupid.
he's super free throw reliant.
Yeah.
He draws a lot of fouls. He's really good at it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to hate on the guy.
Yeah.
I think he's extremely talented, and I think he's drawing extremely talented fouls.
Yeah.
But I just don't know he's going to get those in the playoffs. And if let's say he's getting 10 to 20 of those points a game from free throws, he's not going to get that in the playoffs.
Right.
So where do we go from there? And I don't know.
Don't say it.
They still don't have the experience that I think they need.
Yeah.
Man,
Don't say it.
I don't want to sound crazy.
I know what you're doing.
But I think the Lakers have a legitimate chance.
Lakers are bad.
I think they have a legitimate chance.
Yeah.
And I think the Warriors have a legitimate chance.
Go Dubs.
I think the Nuggets have a legitimate chance.
That's
Gross.
probably your teams, right, in the
Gross.
West.
Yeah. I'm not sold on the Rockets. I'm not sold on the Grizzlies.
I think those are your 5.
I'm not sold on the Timberwolves. Definitely not sold on the Suns.
Now I would
Which
say
is
in
crazy.
the East, Boston has a legit chance against
Oh,
Cavs.
yeah.
If
That's
I
a
have to
good team.
if I have to see Jason Tatum
In the
in
playoffs
the
again.
playoffs again, I'm
Yeah.
gonna lose it, dude.
Listen,
Listen,
no
you're not
one
gonna
wants
get an
Jason in the
argument
playoffs.
from me on that one.
He is the worst. He's the worst NBA superstar we've had in the last 20 years. No, that's just factual. That's just
He
factual.
sucks.
Like, bless his
He's the
heart.
worst.
Bless his heart. I think he's actually a good guy. Like, I feel like if I saw him in public, I feel like he would maybe sign
So
like
why
a
do you
T-shirt.
I don't
He's
think he
the
does
worst.
anything real. I don't think anything.
Why is he the
does
worst?
real.
Yeah.
He's just so corny.
He's
Okay, so you're
he's a
talking
cornball.
personality.
His personality is
He
corny.
also, I just hate the way he plays.
So
And-
when he
so
won the
boring.
championship last year, do you think he was trying to play it up like Kevin
Yes.
Garnett
Yes.
did?
Yes,
It
That's
really did look
100%
like
what he was.
Yeah, it was
and he
like-
recreated
Yeah,
the
he
Kobe photo. He's,
he
he's a
recreated like
cornball.
5 different.
He's a cornball.
like that. Like I said, I'm being honest. I think he's probably a nice guy. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's probably a great guy.
Yeah.
But it's just I just can't do it.
I don't ever want to meet him.
This is
Oh
the
my
problem. This is the
gosh.
problem about him too. He is the most submissive all-star we've ever seen in history.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't have the Kobe mentality in any way, shape, or form.
No, he's last year's finals. He finally played better towards the end. He was supposed to be their main guy, and he was always taking a back seat in the big moments.
Oh, I would
He
give
was-
Jaylen Brown the ball every time.
He was scoring bigger points against meaningless teams, so it's more garbage points to get his, make his stats look a little more inflated.
I just don't know what they can do. He acts like he grew up in a really nice neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He definitely
like
did.
he doesn't have that.
Like he just doesn't have any dog in him.
Yeah, that dog in
He
him.
doesn't have any dog in him. He acts like he went
There's
to
no reason to fight.
yeah. He acts like he went to private school in
I'm pretty
Hollywood.
Sure he did. Pretty sure he did.
Well, whatever it's happening, it hasn't
Like
worked out
Silicon
bad
Valley,
for him.
Sucks.
like Silicon Valley private school. That's what he acts like. That's his mentality.
Cannot stand.
And I just want to see him. I just want to see him feel like he's got to light the streets up.
I feel like I'm here and I need to try to defend him, but he's a Celtic and it ain't gonna happen.
No,
It's
no
not
one needs
gonna-
to defend
It's
him.
not gonna happen. Well,
As far as the East goes, I think we're all pretty on the consensus that the Celtics, no matter what, do have a chance to upset the Cavaliers.
those are the two teams.
The Knicks, I'm just not sold on
No.
the Knicks. I just think Cat is a terrible defender,
yeah,
and I think that hurts them.
and not enough players, and they play too many minutes.
Yeah, and in
In the playoffs, they're gonna wear down.
Yep.
Okay, so Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
he's now out indefinitely. We've got another person.
Blood clot.
Yeah, it says deep vein thrombosis in his right calf. Scary.
Old man's disease.
What would you do if you were Damian? Would you
Retire.
listen to the doctors, obviously, and
Yeah.
what would you do?
I mean, at this point, like,
What is he? Like 35?
he's got to be pretty old. Let me look it up.
He needs to retire. He should have retired
He has
before he
made-
left Portland.
And he's not going to win a championship.
he's never gonna get a chip.
He's not going to get a chip, and he has made
He's
lot
34.
of money. A lot of
he's
money.
made a
He's
lot
on the
of
older
money,
side.
and he's old, and he just needs to hang it up and know that he's not gonna win a championship, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And just be fine with making it to the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
because he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
He doesn't deserve the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
He will.
He doesn't deserve
He's
it.
the only thing that kept the Blazers alive for 10 years.
But he stayed there because he was the only one that was of importance.
Which is fair.
Yeah, but this is the thing is like, if he was on any other franchise, he would have been a nobody. He really would have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
Yeah,
have.
you could say that for a lot of players.
Well, I know. He's just like you put him on the Warriors. No one cares.
That's different.
No one cares.
That's different.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like he's
I don't know.
he's a role player. He's
Do
a
you think
role
Westbrook
player.
will make the? Do you think Westbrook will
Yes.
make
Yes.
the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Yeah,
You think
but
he should?
Westbrook legitimately had a season
that
where
was insane.
that was insane. Like no one's gonna recreate that for a long time.
No.
Like averaging a triple double.
yeah.
is
I mean,
insane.
Jokic is currently doing that.
over
Oh, yeah.
over a
Yeah,
Yeah, but
He's doing
Jokic,
that.
Jokic is gonna make it to the Hall of
I-
Fame as well.
Yeah.
He's a 3-time MVP.
yeah.
He needs to go home to his horses and never come back. I'm so tired of that bald-headed dude. I hate his basketball.
He
It's
is actually
so ugly.
we do need to talk about the fact that
He's-
even though he's so talented, he is not good for the game of basketball.
No, it
Yeah.
sucks.
It's not good
it
to
looks
have.
ugly. Yeah.
It's not good to have the world's greatest basketball player
Yeah.
not
currently
like basketball.
That looks
not
like-
like basketball.
Yeah, and looks like he drank a 6-pack at halftime. Comes
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
I
He
know
probably
it's-
does.
It's not necessarily a good look. I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, I didn't talk about this in college basketball. I don't know if you saw. So Florida has a player, Oliver Rue. He's 7'9".
Yes, I
He's
saw
the
this.
tallest teen. He's not playing. The fans were chanting for him to come in. They wanted him to play garbage time, but then he would lose his. He's a redshirt freshman right now, so obviously he's not going to play. 7'9".
He's the world's tallest teenager.
He's the tallest teenager. Yes.
Yeah.
Think about that life. That would be.
He cut the net down after their first game.
He's just standing there
without using a ladder.
He just reached up and grabbed
that is
it.
insanity.
And it was like almost at eye level.
Yeah.
He wasn't even reaching for it.
But think about your life and how.
Yeah, everything sucks.
I mean, I hope he makes it and goes on and has some.
He won't.
Because that life would be horrible. I think of getting on a plane. We're going to be going to Vegas here in a week and a half. I'm not big. I'm small. And I'm like, this is going to be cramped. 7'9" in a car. I mean, you need a sunroof, and you're looking over the.
Well, it's like Shaq. Shaq talked about like he bought a car at one point, and it was too small for him, so he took the front seat out and he drove from the back seat.
That's insane.
And I'm like, imagine this guy. He could legitimately buy a car, comfortably ride in the back seat and drive.
Wow,
that's insane.
I am an average height person. I think 5'10". I'm 5'10", and I think they say that 5'9" is about average. Okay, so I'm 5'10".
now. It's going down.
Is it 5'8"? Well, I'm going down too. But 5'10". He's 2 feet taller.
Indeed.
That's insane. That is insane. Anyway, just thought that was interesting.
The problem about people like that is you feel for him because at the end of the day, his life expectancy can't be high.
No, it's shorter because the heart is beating further and further. It's got more to go, and it's
too much. Like I always thought as like a kid, like there's a certain height in which I wouldn't want to pass. Like 6'5" would be too much. After that, I wouldn't want to be taller than that.
Nope, I'm with you. Okay, so let's talk NFL draft. That's coming up. There is a lot of people. We might do a mock draft. We will be talking more and more as it gets closer. But there is a lot of things going on, and I want you guys to put your GM hats on for just a second. Okay? If you were a GM and you had a team and you did need a quarterback, but usually at the top of the if you're the number one team picking, that means you're not very good and you got a lot of holes typically. So, if you had that and you had Cam Ward and you have Shadir Sanders, and you have these two quarterbacks, do you think those guys are franchise quarterbacks? That's the first question. Second, would you take a maybe potential franchise quarterback or a guaranteed stud somewhere else? What would you do, Trent? What do you think?
What's the number one team?
So
it's Titans.
Yeah, you got the Titans, and they're gonna pretty much take Cam Ward right now. That's what's gonna happen. Cam Ward, old Washington State Cougar. That's the best we get. Somebody transfers out.
I am not in love with Cam Ward whatsoever.
And Sanders
scares me.
Is all over the board. They've got him going down as low as in the 20s and then up as high as number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see him as like a Will Levis type. Shout out Titans.
Shout out
Titans.
Well, the Titans again. They could have 2 Will Levis.
So just what they want.
So, but like, what would you do?
Double mayo.
Because I'm gonna give you my opinion. What you think about it? You're the GM. I'm gonna tell you my thing on a GM. If I'm GM and I have a guarantee, quarterback hit rates are really low.
I know,
even in the first round.
I think with what I've seen in the NFL as of recent, I think as a GM, my 5-year plan, 3-year plan, 5-year plan, whatever you want to do, I think it would consist of building the team from the trenches.
Yes.
And then taking a quarterback last.
Yep.
Like making that your last resort.
And maybe picking a few quarterbacks since they're, a crapshoot a little bit. Like try over a couple. You could take one in the 4th round.
I would take one in the first. I would take one in the first round, and then I would get like a free agent quarterback, someone who is, serviceable.
See, I would take Abdul Carter. I would take with the number 1 pick. He is going to be a freak.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Abdul Carter
and Hunter. I think Hunter's going to be something special.
Hunter is not going to be anything. He is going to fizzle out.
Travis Hunter.
So?
I don't know.
Very fast.
I think he looks good.
I don't feel great about him.
Oh.
He's.
I think you're thinking relationships.
I'm thinking. Well, that affects things.
Yeah.
That is very. I mean,
there's a lot to being a good football player, and smartness is one of them.
It shows. It shows in Will Levis. Did you guys see the game last year when his ex showed up to the game and he threw for like 1 for 13 or something and got subbed out in the
There's
third
no doubt
quarter.
off the field stuff
Like,
can make a huge difference.
He streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
He's not a football player.
Yeah. So
And he also went to Colorado State.
So
anyone that comes out of Colorado State is purely made for TV and not made for the league.
Listen,
Deion Sanders is running an absolute clown school.
Wow.
And it is just like the most just outlandish
Make your
reality
comments.
TV BS I've ever seen. It's so
These got the comments.
we
section's
love
gonna
the
be wild.
comments.
I
It's
hope-
going
I
bling,
hope
bling,
the
bling, bling,
comments.
comment.
I love it.
Yeah.
Deion's so real, brother.
Dude, you didn't even know what you're talking about.
Dude, you didn't even know what you're talking about. Dude, you know you're like in your 20s, dude, and you're like talking about people who are 18 years old. Like, you need to get off the internet, brother.
Bro, get a job. Put the fries in the bag.
I actually really like Jalen Walker. He would be a my guy out
so
of Georgia.
You don't think he's too small?
No, I don't think he's too small.
That's
if
a
I've
concern
learned,
because he looks really good. The 49ers there are a lot of people who are saying he could go to the 49ers.
oh, you would be too lucky. You're not getting him. Sorry.
I think
At 11, there's no way.
Yeah.
If you get Jalen Walker at 11, you actually have a legitimate chance to be half decent this year.
yeah.
He is the most Micah Parsons person. He's more Micah Parsons than Abdul Carter, and I mean that when I say.
Do you
that.
think he's going to be better pro than Abdul Carter?
I agree. Yes.
Wow.
You're going to take it.
I wouldn't say that, but I think he's going to be really good.
At 1.
Oh yeah, I would. In this draft, because I don't think these quarterbacks are that great. I think next year it looks like there's going to be a lot better quarterbacks. I don't think either of these quarterbacks look like a number 1 pick.
To be fair, I also want to say Abdul Carter, they have him listed at 250. He's not 250 pounds. He's 240 something, if he's lucky.
Yeah.
They put tied weights around his ankles and put him on the scales. He's not 250.
All right, now in the NFL, we have another signing, and we just had Stephon Diggs, $69 million, 3 years, $23 million. Is that a good decision by the Patriots or a bad decision? Trent, what do you think?
I don't love it. I don't love it whatsoever. I thought the Patriots did really good in the offseason. I think Mike Vrabel is going to set a really good culture there. I think some of the players they picked up in the offseason are really good culture players. And I just don't think Stephon Diggs fits that no matter what.
Yeah.
I think he just doesn't. I think he's not a culture guy. I think he's still a very good wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that you take a player like that when you're trying to build a culture in a franchise.
A young team, you got a quarterback who's doing well at the start of his career, and you give yourself a diva, Stephon Diggs. I don't see it. He's talented.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some talent, but there's no way I would do it. What do you think, Cameron? What do you think about that decision?
When I think about it, I think about because you guys talk a lot about how these divas, quote unquote, affect the locker room, and I think about Jimmy Butler and when the Bulls brought him in, and I think about how he's not considered the best culture guy or anything like that, and then they went to the bubble and almost beat the Lakers, who are the biggest power team. I don't know if culture is the biggest factor, because if you look at it, Kobe was not a good culture guy.
That's fair.
Tom Brady wasn't a great culture guy.
Fair. Yeah.
I don't know how much culture affects things, in all honesty. I know it helps team morale, blah, 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 all that, but I think coaching is more important than your culture guy, you know? I think
agree.
at this level, players should be more looking at this as a job, because it is a job. So they should come in, do their job to the best of their ability, and leave. And whether or not you like your coworkers, whether or not you like your coaches, whether or not you like the city that you're working in, doesn't really matter. You're there. You're getting paid to do a job. Do it to the best of your ability.
I hear you, and you made some good key players that I totally understand. The only thing I would say when I'm thinking of certain players, there are people that are like, I would say when you're talking about Jimmy Butler, he's more quiet and introspective. Kobe was more, they don't go out and they're not big and loud. Big and loud is a different type of culture presence that can be a little more disruptive than a quiet, maybe grumpy person off to the side. Diggs he's just a little louder to me, but will it necessarily make the worst difference? Is he gonna blow the team up? I think that can be overplayed. I think he's a good player. I just think for $23 million, although receivers are going for, I know, a lot of money, I don't know if I would be doing that if I was a young team putting a loud receiver who's going to be really demanding the ball all the time. That's just me. And they have a very good chance of getting, it depends on how it, but Travis Hunter could be a receiver for him. That very possible could go his way.
Yeah, and then you throw another bad culture guy in.
So
that guy is the definition of loud and obnoxious.
So would you
That's
want?
True.
Yeah. So would you want that to be your leader? And
well,
so,
I'm curious if they are wanting that sort of environment in New England.
Maybe to make it loud and get more publicity their way. I mean, it could.
Because
I don't know.
The team died when Belichick left.
Yeah.
I could see Robert Kraft.
Absolutely died.
I could see Robert Kraft saying, "Hey, we need a little more publicity,
A little more life.
Yeah,
They
because
like
he's
loud guys.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I could see it.
We'll see. We'll see where
They
they're
signed
at.
Antonio Brown. At
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Flashback.
Mr. CTE.
So okay. So Aaron Rodgers, what's your prediction? Where do you think he'll go? What's your thoughts?
Go home.
He's gonna go right home.
Is he gonna?
He's gonna go home.
retire?
No, he's going home to California.
Oh, he's going to San Fran.
No, I honestly, I've been seeing a lot of the rumors that if Brock Purdy wants too much money,
Yeah.
that there's a chance that they go and sign
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think it's still probably most likely that he's going to play for the Steelers.
Yeah.
But
I think most likely.
if
A lot of people are saying the San Francisco, he's going home. He should have started there. And that is a storyline. I don't think it'll happen, but it is a storyline.
I don't know. I mean, do you really think? Okay, just an overall question.
Yeah.
You can think what you want of Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't played the best in the last couple of years. He had a pretty decent last 10 games at New York. He came off a major injury that he probably pushed himself back too quickly for. A lot of times that exact injury, especially for a quarterback, it takes more than just a year to get back from it. Usually quarterbacks are like 2 to 3 years before they're back to normal. Do you think that there's a chance that if they did pick up Aaron Rodgers, 49ers picked up Aaron Rodgers, that there's a chance that he could actually play at a very good level? You got to think.
Yes, I do.
You're adding Kyle Shanahan as his coach.
That's the difference. He played. I love Saleh, but Saleh's a defensive coach.
Yeah.
There's a big difference from an offensive coach.
Oh,
versus
that
a
would be
defensive
hard, though, because he didn't like Saleh.
He got Saleh fired.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good if he
Well,
yes.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly.
Allegedly.
He did.
Allegedly. Aaron, if you're hearing this,
Hey.
allegedly.
And just think about it. If you bring Aaron Rodgers in, you got to also take Hackett with him. So.
Oh, that's true. He's kind of demanding that, isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
And then you're going to have to sign Lazard. Oh, boy. Alan Lazard.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you guys are probably going to have to trade for Devontae Adams.
Cobb, I think. I think
Randall
Cobb
Cobb
was
is
one of
probably still playing. I don't know.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
He's
He's probably
somewhere.
in Indianapolis, just bottom of the bench. But
Oh, Jennings is coming back. Yes.
ooh, exciting.
So yeah. Anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see if anything happens with him, or if he'll end up somewhere in a desert, underground, in a spa or something like that. But we'll see. So
Most likely still the Steelers.
Well-
But here's the deal. They're saying that he specifically isn't signing with the Steelers yet because there's conversations being had with the Niners.
yeah,
So there's at least an open line of communication there, whether it's a real line or not.
yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're the 49ers, you have to have a plan B.
absolutely.
You can't only have a plan A.
Well,
But I don't-
my plan B would be to just say this is what we're going to do. There's different personalities. Some people will go the route of what was it, the Eagles defensive end last year that went to New York and then sat out and missed most of the season. He lost a ton of oh my God, Reddick, right? Hassan Reddick. There are players like that no, they'll sit out. Then there's certain players I don't believe that will sit out. And I think there's just certain, I don't think Tom Brady would ever sit out. I don't think there's certain types of characters. And I would just say, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to try to pay you a reasonable rate.
That's
But
actually probably why Stephon Diggs left,
yeah,
is because he was probably going to have to sit out.
yep. Yeah, that's probably
Okay,
true. That's
question.
probably true. Yes.
Question for you.
Yep.
I just saw this mock situation
Yes.
from the 49ers.
Yep. Membo. I'd take Membo. Missouri.
He says, here's a trade nobody's going to say no to.
Ooh.
Let's say the Giants want Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Because they don't like any of the quarterbacks in the draft, which, to be fair,
Then they gave 3 number 1 picks.
I actually think I'd probably take Brock Purdy over both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders personally.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're saying you guys would swap first-round picks this year, the 3rd for the 11,
and get 2 more first rounds.
and then get 2 more first-round
Yeah.
picks.
No.
And then you'd sign Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to say no to that?
If I was the 49ers,
Yeah.
I would take the trade.
Yeah, I would all day.
I would take the trade. If I would do that with everybody except for maybe 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4 in the league.
I just think at this point you guys have kind of done a soft reset. And
Unintentionally.
well, yeah.
Well,
I think it was a forced soft reset.
Yeah, the 49ers situation is really weird. Most of the things that they have gotten rid of are not a problem. There's
Yeah.
a couple key. Losing Greenlaw was hard. I mean, that
He was injured a lot, but
Greenlaw was injured, but he's good. But a lot of the players that they lost, they should have lost.
Green.
They should have
It's
lost.
really not going to affect you.
yeah.
So
I don't know. Here's my deal. This is what I think. They're kind of doing a little soft reset right now, and it just doesn't make sense to me to pay a quarterback $50 to $60 million a year
well, we'll see.
during a
Does
soft
if he's
reset.
young.
I would pay.
Why
50.
would you? Why
I
would
wouldn't do
you?
60.
I don't understand why you would jump ship on Brock Purdy to sign old man Aaron Rodgers for like what 20 million?
Well,
for 3
because
years?
I would be betting on the fact that you have a Manning coming out of the draft soon. You got some.
No, I think for me the thought is the difference between there's only 3 or 4 great quarterbacks, and the difference between 6 and 16 is not a huge difference, and that's I think what some people would say. And so if you did this trade, and I don't want to get rid of Brock Purdy because I think Brock Purdy is about the best processor I've seen the 49ers have since Joe Montana from processing standpoint, which is why I like him. But if you do what $20 million, I think, is that what you said for Rodgers?
3 years.
So then you save $30 million. You can get an Abdul Carter type maybe player that can help fill a spot. You get 2 more guys that could maybe potentially be all pro type players over the next couple drafts, along with your own. So you're getting $30 million. You're talking about you can get the best free agent out there next year.
Yeah.
You know, so you're getting 4 players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you could trade down and get more players. It would be tempting. You'd have to decide with your own team, whoever that is, do you believe in that quarterback? And quarterback is the hardest position to hit on. That's why they make so much money. It is really hard to find a quarterback. Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game was down 2 touchdowns at the end of the game and brought him back against Detroit.
That's why I think you don't get rid of Brock Purdy because he is the epitome of system quarterback.
So, I mean, it's a valid point. And sometimes you do take picks, and just because you're getting 3, you might get 2 that actually pan out.
Yeah.
And so it would be a tough decision. I would be more concerned taking 3 because you wouldn't get Abdul Carter. If you could get Abdul Carter, I'd be more interested.
I mean, and you talk about locker room and culture and all that. Aaron Rodgers is the bane of culture. He comes in there and then just becomes he completely, unroots everything you have going on in your system, and that showed it with the Jets.
Yeah.
He came there, got like 4 coaches fired, brought in 3 old dudes with him. It was like a full like Uncle Drew situation where he's like, I got me and my guys and we're pulling up. You guys got to leave. There's not enough room for you
I love
guys.
Uncle Drew the movie.
It's just like he's not. He needs.
Yeah, but
he
I think
needs
the
to go
Jets are a poorly ran organization.
They
They
weren't.
gave him way too much power.
And
They're not going to give that to him in San Francisco.
You hope not. Salah's still there, and Salah rolled over on and showed his belly.
I don't think he's going back to Saleh, and like you said, I don't think he's going back to Saleh, but I also think that he's going to Pittsburgh. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my prediction. I think he's going to the Steel Curtain.
I don't want him to go to Pittsburgh because I want Pittsburgh to still have a winning season.
Yeah.
I want him to still hit at least 500.
They are going to be a 500 team.
No, they're not.
No matter what happens.
Aaron Rodgers is going to break 3 of his toes because he does 4-hour cold plunges every morning.
Oh man,
and
have you
can't feel
seen the
his feet.
things he does?
I don't care.
It's insane what he does.
He's insane.
I just don't feel great about giving still a little bit unproven quarterback $60 million a year during a soft reset.
Yeah.
If this was 2 years ago,
Yeah, you're not necessarily criticizing the player. You're more saying you're making a decision. Are you doing a reset or are you not doing it? Are you spending money or are you not spending money? Like, be consistent.
I think that's really where I'm
You
struggling.
guys
I
have a
understand
lot
that.
of money to spend.
Yeah, but
You
it
guys just got rid of a bunch of people.
Yeah, but the problem is like when we paid Jalen Hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
We paid him as we were in a win now mode. It was right after we lost the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We paid him a good amount of money, but that roster was already set for the next 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, we're in win now mode.
You're going for it.
We're going for it. We're sending it all. We're gonna pay all the money.
No, I hear what you're saying.
We're gonna make contracts pay until 2030, right? And we're gonna go for it. I'm just struggling to say it makes sense to pay this young guy who's still a little bit unproven, right? Pay him $60 million a year in a point in time where we're not like, no one's going into the locker room right now going, we think 49ers are Super Bowl favorites.
So you know why? So they're the 6th best odds right now to win, which I think is crazy, but that they are right now. Do you know why I think they're thinking that? And I agree with totally. I'm 100% on board with what you're saying. They're thinking the 49ers didn't have Christian McCaffrey, and they're saying he's healthy right now. Right now he's doing stuff, and they're saying he's healthy. Whether he is or not isn't, they're going to have Trent Williams back. They're going to have Bosa healthy. So they're saying that they didn't have Greenlaw last year. Ward was out a lot of the season. And so I think they're thinking best case scenario. But the reality is their defensive line is terrible. Bosa, great. Everything else, I mean, I could start on that team. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And so they've got a lot of holes to fill. And you don't have Ayuk. You didn't have Ayuk last year. He'll come back. What will he be? Who knows?
You're not
Kittle is getting
He's gonna
older.
get traded.
I know, and I wonder what they'll trade him for. But
Oh, draft night?
yeah.
No,
he won't.
They're going to trade him like first week of free agency, and they're going to trade him to the Chargers.
So if Ayuk gets traded, it's got to be before April 1st.
Really?
Yeah, because of the money. He's owed like $20-some million. The 49ers can get out of almost all of the contract if he's traded before April 1st.
Wow.
So that's why. So I would be like, if they got a 7th round pick, I'd be entertaining it just to get out of the contract.
Honestly, you know what team has the money to pay it that would make sense?
The Patriots were a team that was interested.
Interconference.
Oh,
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Seahawks makes sense. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out.
Why would they do that?
Because they just lost DK. They could get Brandon on.
They just got Cooper Kupp.
they got two. Yeah, I mean,
They have a wide receiver duo, and they have Bobo, who
you know who the
isn't
rumors were
bad
for Ayuk?
necessarily.
Patriots and the Browns. The Browns are right
I've
now
heard-
in multiple
I've
conversations.
heard Chargers a lot recently.
Chargers would make sense. Browns not so much. They don't
Browns.
have. They're not gonna have any money.
Patriots aren't.
They
gonna
just
pay
paid
him
Myles
too.
Garrett and they still have Deshaun Watson on their contract.
I don't know what the Browns are doing. Well, anyway, we'll figure this out. We'll come back next week. We got the NCAA tournament. We got it's going to be a good weekend there. The
Go
draft is coming. We'll see. Make your comments of who you think will win and who's going to do well. And anything that we say here or whatever, if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button.
Even if you don't like what you see.
Yeah, if you don't like it, subscribe anyway. That would mean a great deal to us.
Even if you hate
Subscribe so you can argue.
Add your comments. We like that too. Hit that bell. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week.